Hey guys, what's up? This is Gina Ifoe, the one and only African superstar, and today I want to talk about my elaborate migration to Ghana and why. Welcome back to my platform. I know a lot of you guys are new and coming over, and so I'm taking this opportunity to reintroduce myself to my platform and the YouTube community. Once again, my name is Gina Ifoe. I am the one and only African superstar. Basically, my platform is made to empower Black people, in the diaspora, out in the West, to realize the opportunities here on the continent and execute those opportunities. So I often get asked, why did you move to Africa? How did you move to Africa? So I wanted to prepare this video. This was actually a very popular topic on my previous platform, so I'm going to talk about it again. Basically, I grew up, born and raised in Columbus, Ohio, and I began to experience a lot of racial problems when I entered into the corporate world. I began my career working for banks, and ultimately I spent a sizable amount of time with JP Morgan Chase. And I began to see how, systematic racism was really at play in regards to the upward mobility of Black professionals. I went to predominantly white private schools growing up in Ohio, so I was of the thinking that, you could work hard and you could just put in the effort and you would be able to, reach the highest heights. But once I got into the workplace, I realized, okay, you know what? That's what systematic racism is. Systematic racism is put into place to prohibit our people from reaching certain echelons. At that time, I'd say I was in my early 20s. I became very, very disingenuous with the whole system. I had the realization that this was going to be an attribute of my life for the duration. The more I began to experience it, the more I began to echo complaints from, my family and other peers in the workplace and family friends and stories I read. And I realized, wow, I'm actually just, taking my part in the circle of life, and there's no way to eradicate this stuff. So, at that time, Africa was not on my radar. I really hadn't entertained it at all. The first move that I made was to the UK. And I made that move following, being able to obtain citizenship in the UK. And, after a friend kind of encouraged me to look into the option, because I was traveling the international community and it was getting more and more difficult for me to return to the United States after my travels. I actually, so my last corporate job was at United Healthcare. I was experiencing, the same type of targeting and racism in the workplace. For me, it's always really been delegated by non-Black women. It's been my experience that they fixate on us. They want to control us. They want us to fraternize with them outside of work. And if you don't engage them, then they take it as a personal offense and they begin using their authoritative position to make your life a living hell. So I was working with a woman called Lisa at United Healthcare, and, she was doing everything that she could to make things, make it a hostile work environment. So following that, Uber was new to my city of Columbus. So I decided, I'm going to drive Uber and see how I work it out. And it was really quite hilarious because a lot of my colleagues, they were all in the corporate world and they were making fun of me. They didn't really know what Uber was. And they're like, oh, Gina, you're a taxi driver, And I basically used that opportunity to generate about $10,000, in which I moved to the UK 2 years later, 2017. When I went to the UK, I was a bit familiar. I had been traveling there for at least, I had been there maybe about 4 or 5 times before I actually made the move. I was a bit familiar with it. And, the experience in the UK is a lot less blatant than it is in the West, in America. In America, they don't hold back with their hatred and their racism. In the UK, they like to appear, more tolerant and more appropriate. So theirs is definitely more covert and definitely less, blatant, as I said. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna take an understated kind of role here. I'm going to try to be as low key as possible because I was tired of getting fixated on, basically by my non-black peers in the workplace. So I took a position at a mental hospital. That's where a lot of the ethnic minorities in England work. You know, they work within the healthcare system, nurses, healthcare assistants, hospital people. You know, that's kind of where they corral us. You know, irrespective of the educational background, you may not be able to get an audience with, you know, your field, but the minute you apply for some kind of care work or something like that, they're hiring you immediately to go into these kind of positions. So basically, I worked in those positions while establishing the AfricanSuperstar.com. I launched my website on November 1st, 2019. And, I also simultaneously was establishing my previous YouTube platform. And, I was generating money from both of those avenues. I really turned up the heat in 2020 following getting terminated. I was kind of living a double life in the UK. I was, the African superstar outside of work, and inside of work, I was just trying to be as low key as possible. But when it was discovered who I was and what I talked about on social media, obviously it became a problem in the workplace for them. It wasn't a problem for me because I didn't bring my ideology to work. I just came there to get the money and leave. See, that's what some of y'all need to do so you can come over here to the continent like me. So I decided, I'd say mid 2019 that I wanted to be in Ghana by the close of 2020. And more specifically, I given myself a date of June 2020 because my birthday's in June and I always love to celebrate here in Ghana. Obviously coronavirus came and things got rearranged. I actually was able to come in September when the borders opened. But, now some people say, well, Gina, why did you go to the UK instead of just going directly to Ghana? I was completely encapsulated in the American system. What I can say about the American system is it is one of consumption. It's very difficult for people to save money and retain money. The constant outgo of your resources for your living expenses. I mean, it's literally the definition of a hamster wheel. So when I left the U.S., I wasn't in a position to go directly to the continent. You need capital. You need sources of income. You need housing. You might have to sort out your immigration. It can be very costly. I went to the UK because I knew their currency was stronger than America. I wanted to earn the British pound, which goes further here on the continent as well. So I developed that kind of strategy, basically hopscotching, getting, out of that environment and being able to regroup and then, think forward. So that's a little bit about my elaborate migration to Ghana. I tell you guys all the time, I love it here. It was just the best decision. I'm really happy that I was successful in doing that. Also during 2020, my previous platform just basically exploded. Obviously, I began to collect a lot of customers at the AfricanSuperstar.com as I was promoting it and all those things. So that's a little bit of that background. I saw some of you guys ask this question, so I wanted to prepare a video for you. Please make sure you leave your comments below and make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Until we meet again, stay black and true. If you ain't black, just stay true.